Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. I'd like to call the meeting to order and acknowledge that we're in Treaty 1 territory, the home and traditional lands of the Anishinaabe, Ojibwe, Innu, Cree, and Dakota peoples, and in the national homeland of the Red River Métis. Our drinking water comes from Shoal Lake 40 First Nation in Treaty 3 territory. My name is Lynn Nesbitt and I'm chairing today's panel. Joining me on the panel via Zoom are Linda Schultz and Kevin Stephenson. Our secretary today is Zachary Mohan and our assessor is Ryan Valderrama. We'll be hearing applications for revision of the assessment role in accordance with the Municipal Assessment Act. The matters for which revision is requested have been described in each application, and we will limit discussion to those matters. The statements that are made at this hearing are sworn testimony, and anyone speaking to the matters must be sworn in. Be advised that comparisons of assessments of properties are not considered evidence of market value by the Board of Revision. The board is appointed annually by council and is independent of it and the city administration. It makes its decisions on the basis of the evidence provided at this hearing and issues a written order that will be mailed to all parties as soon as possible. Please note that the board's decisions with respect to an application may be appealed to the Manitoba Municipal Board if the matter pertains to assessed value or classification, or to the Court of King's Bench if the matter pertains to the application of exemptions from taxation. Should you wish to appeal, information on how to do so will be included with the board's order. With respect to the hearing process, I'll confirm the points of appeal with your property to be addressed with each applicant following the swearing in. We will then have the assessor's testimony, followed by questions that the applicant may have, and then the applicant's testimony followed by questions. Each side will have an opportunity to summarize if they wish. Once all of the evidence about an application has been brought forward, the applicant may leave. The process will repeat for each item on the docket today. The session will close after all the applications have been heard, and the board will deliberate in private and make its decisions. You will receive the board's decision by registered mail as soon as possible. As information, all public hearings are live streamed, recorded, and will be part of the public record. We will be hearing items 1 through 5 on our docket today. Mr. Mohan, please affirm the assessor's and applicant's testimony.
Of course, Madam Chair. Mr. Assessor, please state your full name.
Ryan Valderrama.
Do you affirm that the evidence you're about to give at this hearing is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. Mr. Applicant, please state your full name.
Terry O'Connor.
Do you affirm that the evidence you're about to give at this hearing is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. You may be seated.
Thank you, and good morning, Mr. Reiner and Mr. Valderrama.
Morning.
Looking at our agenda today, I note that for all properties, classification, liability, and value are under appeal.
Correct, that's
Correct, okay. Are there any preliminary issues we need to discuss right now before we start?
So.
Okay, so then with classification and liability under appeal, Mr. Reimer, the floor is yours to
Okay.
begin on those points.
Certainly.
And then when we're done discussing those points, Mr. Valderrama, you can lead with respect to the discussion on value. Okay? Okay.
Thank you, Madam
Thank you,
Chair.
Madam Chair.
Which property is the first one on the docket this morning?
Okay, and could you read in the roll number and the address, please?
Sorry, which property are we?
Number 1.
319
Oh, sorry.
Thank you.
Of course.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So 319 Elgin, this is the Innovation Center owned by the Board of Governors of Red River College. And I'll put the discussion this morning in context and sort of set the framework that would apply to every application.
Before we start, can you read it?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, 319 Elgin. So the roll number is 13-099-071-910 and board file number 24-2470. Apologies, I'm not used to doing the reading.
I know. Neither know.
So again, to sort of set the context for the matters this morning, the college, Altus Group has been working with the college over the past several years concerning a matter relating to liability taxation. there are a number of applications at King's Bench right now that are pending from those previous appeals. So in each and every case this morning, my suggestion, Madam Chair, and my request is to confirm classification as it is now, confirm the liability, which is fully taxable right now, pending the outcome of the court decision or the court application. And our intent would be, upon receipt of the Board of Revision orders, we would simply file an appeal with the municipal board as to classification, file a protective application with King's Bench to be joined to the previous applications. And then hopefully by 2 years hence, when the next assessment cycle begins, hopefully we have the court's decision one way or another, and we can bring those matters to a close.
Okay, thank you. And can you just describe for the board of the current classification is?
The classification, I believe, for this property is code 60 other. We'll make very sure, yes, it's classified as an institutional, but it is coded as grantable but fully taxable. And the request at the Court of King's Bench with the applications is to a declaration that the properties should be school tax exempt, and that's the nature of the issue with the liability case.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mr. Boardroom, do you have anything you would like to raise with respect to the issue of classification and liability?
None at the moment, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Ms. Schultz,
No questions at this time, thank you.
Mr. Stephenson,
No questions, thank you.
and I don't either. So, Mr. Boardroom, the floor is yours with respect to value.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Again, we're dealing with a property located at 319 Elgin Avenue. It has a roll number of 13099071910. The file number for this appeal is 24-2470-2470. We're dealing with the roll year of 2025 using reference date of April 1st, 2023. The assessed value is $33,803,000. It is classified as an institutional property with a liability of grantable. Madam Chair, if I may, I've contacted the applicant and we went back and forth on this one, and I believe we have a sort of like an agreement or on the value. And I would like to make a joint recommendation on the value for this property, if you may, Madam Chair.
Yes, please go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Madam Chair. I am recommending $28,096,000 on this property, Madam Chair.
Can you please repeat that number?
$28,096,000. 28096,000.
Okay. Can you explain a little bit how is this done on the cost approach, or how did you?
We have just come to an
Okay.
agreement on value, Madam Chair.
Okay. Mr. Reimer, do you accept that value?
We do accept it, and we are in agreement with it.
Mr. Stephenson, do you have questions with respect to the recommendation of $28,096,000?
No questions, thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Schultz?
No questions, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, and that concludes item number 1. Thank you very much. All right. So we will move to item number 2, and again, Mr. Reimer, you would please introduce the property as you are also appealing class and liability.
I promise to get it right this time. So the
That's
property
okay.
is, the property is 160 Princess Street. The roll number is 13-096-031-000. Application for the 2025 realty assessment as to liability, taxation, and classification under the board's file number 24-2475. Madam Chair, I'd ask that my previous comments in the context in which this matter is being heard be carried forward. Pending the outcome of the applications at King's Bench, would request that the liability to taxation at this time be confirmed and the classification be confirmed. The classification right now for the property is institutional, and the liability is, as it's a quasi-government organization, is grant, fully taxable, and we ask for that to be confirmed at this time. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Reiner. Mr. Valderrama, any questions, comments?
I have none, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Schultz,
No questions at this time, thank you.
Mr. Stephenson.
No questions, thank you.
Thank you, and neither do I. So, Mr. Valderrama, on value, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The next property has a file number of 24-2475. It has a roll number of 13-096-031-000. The property is located at 160 Princess Street. We're dealing with the roll year of 2025 using reference date of April 1st, 2023. The assessed value is $39,258,000. It is classified as an institutional property with a grantable liability. Madam Chair, I would wish to express that there's an agreement on value for this property, if I may proceed.
Yes, please.
Thank you. The value that's been agreed upon is $36,717,000. Again, that's 36,717,000.
Thank you, Mr. Valderrama. Mr. Reiner, do you accept the recommendation?
We do accept and are in agreement. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Stephenson, questions on the recommendation?
No questions, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Schultz.
No questions at this time, thank you.
Thank you very much. Concludes item number 2. Okay, we're going faster than I can open the files. Item number 3, Mr. Reiner.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Item number 3 is 275 Bannatyne Avenue, again owned by Red River College, realty roll number 13-096-159-200, board file number 24-2469. This is also a property that is, I believe it's classified as, it's certainly fully taxable and subject to Mr. Valderrama's better advice. I think it's classified as well as institutional. At this time, for the same reasons I've expressed previously, we simply ask the board to confirm the classification and the liability as returned on the 2025 roll, subject to or pending the Court of King's Bench applications on those 2 issues. I can also, for the just for the information of the board, we are also seeking confirmation of the assessed value at such time that the board is looking at this. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Reiner. Mr. Valderrama, questions?
I have no questions, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Mr. Stephenson?
No questions, thank you.
Ms. Schultz?
No questions, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Valderrama, on value, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. As expressed by the applicant, the property is assessed at $290,000. The property is located at 275 Bannatyne Avenue with a roll number of 13-096-159-200. And it has a zoning of a character. It has an assessed lot size of 12,224 square feet and a total assessment per square foot of about $23.72. And that's my presentation, Madam Chair. With the subject to the applicant's request for a 54-1 or a confirmation on value and class and liability.
Thank you very much. Mr. Reiner?
No questions.
Thank you. Ms. Schultz?
No questions, thank you.
Mr. Stephenson?
No questions, thank you.
Thank you. And Mr. Valderrama, I'm just asking this because the format of this evidence that you submitted is a little bit different from other formats. And it's got a title, recommendation, beside assessment information. Is $290,000 the value that went out on the roll?
Yes, it did. It's just the recommendation part is blank, Madam Chair, if I may clarify.
Oh, I see. That's how I should have read that. Okay. There
Sorry.
would be
in
information
column.
beside that. Okay, gotcha. So
Thank you.
290,000 is the value, Mr. Reiner, that you're requesting confirmation?
Indeed, yes.
Thank you. Mr. Stephenson, any questions for Mr. Valderrama?
No questions, thank you.
Ms. Schultz?
No questions, thank you.
Thank you. All right, that concludes item number 3. Item number 4, file number 2424-2473. Mr. Reimer.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So this is 504 Main Street, just up the road from where we are right now. Also owned by the Board of Governors of Red River College, roll number 13-096-193-600 and board file number 24-2473. For the same reasons I mentioned previously, would request that the classification be confirmed and the liability taxation as fully grantable be confirmed. I do note in this case, if Madam Chair, if you're familiar with the building, there's actually 2 separate components for the total assessment of the property. A significant residential 2 component being the upper floors and the dorms, and then also institutional property on the main floor and a portion of the floor above the main floor. Asking that all of that be confirmed at this time as far as the classification goes, and that the status is fully taxable under grant to also be confirmed. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Reimer. Mr. Valderrama, questions?
I have no questions on those 2 matters, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Mr. Stephenson?
No questions, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Schultz.
No questions, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Mr. Valderrama on value.
Sorry, Madam Chair, may I just
Of course.
that the brief mentions perhaps a little bit of a different value on the institutional component, but I should, for the information of the board, advise that I'll just be seeking a 54-1 on the existing values right now as well, just for the board's information.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Valderrama.
I have no questions on that one, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, all right, your presentation on value, Mr. Valderrama.
Thank you, Madam Chair. As indicated by the applicant, Mr. Reimer, there is a confirmation request on the value as well. I'll read through the summary on page 1 for that matter, Madam Chair, if I may.
Yes, please.
Thank you. So the property or the appeal has a file number of 24-2473. It has a roll number of 13-096-193-600. It is located at 504 Main Street. As mentioned earlier by Mr. Reimer, there is a split assessment on this property. The first one has a roll year of 2025 using reference date of April 1st, 2023. The assessed value is $9,447,000. It is the classification with residential 2. And it has a liability of grantable. The second split assessment on this one has a roll year of 2025 and reference date of April 1st, 2023. It has an assessed value of $11,147,000. It is classified as an institutional property with a liability of grantable. The total assessed value, Madam Chair, is $20,594,000. And the property is a college with 1 to 10 stories, 3 sections, effective years built of 1990 to 2010. It has a construction class of reinforced concrete with an average wall height of 17 feet. It is zoned, or the property zoned as character or C. It has a land area of 19,499 square feet and a planned area of 19,849 square feet, with a basement area of 13,297 square feet. And that's my presentation on page 1, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Reimer,
No questions.
thank you. And okay, Mr. Stephenson,
No questions, thank you.
Ms. Schultz,
No questions, thank you.
thank you. And Mr. Reimer, just confirming that you are requesting confirmation of those values.
Please.
Thank you very much. Okay, that concludes item number 4. Item number 5 is file number 24-2474. Mr. Reimer.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So this is the Red River Polytech main campus at 2055 Notre Dame Avenue, close to the airport. The realty roll number is 07569-136560. 2025 realty assessment is the matter at hand, and the board's file number is 24-2474. I do note, Madam Chair, as far as the existing assessment right now, what you will see is a very small portion that is exempt, and that for the board's information is a daycare on the site. So that's that is the reason for the exempt component. The remainder is fully taxable as institutional property under a grant in lieu of taxes. We are requesting, again, pending that court, the outcome of the court applications, that the existing liability to taxation and the existing classification be confirmed at this time. And also for the board's information, I will be seeking confirmation of the assessed values for the two components under 54.1. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ryan. Mr. Valderrama, questions?
I have none, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Stephenson?
No questions, thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Schultz?
No questions, thank you.
And I have no questions either. So Mr. Valderrama on value, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. As requested by the applicant, Mr. Reimer, he's requesting or seeking a confirmation on the matter of classification, liability, and assessed value. I will go over the summary of brief, if I may, Madam Chair.
Yes, please.
Thank you. So for file number 24-2474, the roll number is 07569136560. The property is located at 2055 Notre Dame Avenue. We're dealing with the roll year of 2025 using reference date of April 1st, 2023. There are two assessments on this property. The first one has a value of $84,000 with a classification of institutional property and a liability of fully exempt. The second one has an assessed value of $83,621,000 with a classification of institutional property and a liability of grant. The total assessed value for the property is $83,705,000. The property is a university/college with 1 to 8 stories and 16 sections. It has an effective years built of 1963 to 2019. It has a construction class of masonry bearing walls with average wall height between 10 feet to 22 feet. The zoning is EI or educational and institutional. And the property has a land area of 4,299,003 square feet. It has a planned area of 529,689 square feet and a gross floor area of 1,158,562 square feet. And that's my summary of my presentation now, Madam Chair, sorry.
Thank you very much. Mr.
Thank you.
Reimer? Thank you. Ms. Schultz?
No questions, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Stephenson?
No questions, thank you.
Okay, and again, just confirming, Mr. Reimer, you are requesting confirmation of the value of $83,705,000 divided into the two components of 40E of 84,000, 40G 83,621.
Yes,
Okay.
precisely. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. That concludes item 5. And with that, we have heard all of the items scheduled, and this hearing is now adjourned. Thank you very much, Mr. Valderrama and Mr. Reimer.
Thank you all.
Thanks, everyone. Okay. Have a good day.
You too.